1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I started writing for Duke Ellington in 1947. He called me. I knew him. I had met him when I was in high school in Detroit. He says, I need you to do 2 arrangements on a couple of my tunes. So I said, when do you need these? He says, I need them tomorrow at 2 o'clock for Columbia Records. You know? Okay, fine, you got it. Then I didn't hear from Duke Ellington for 9 years. 9 years later, he called me at 6 in the morning. He said, Gerald, as if he had been talking with me over the 9 years. I had never heard from him anything. I said, Duke, that's 6 in the morning. He said, I said, when do you need him, Duke? He says, I need him this afternoon at 2 o'clock at Capitol Records. I said, well, okay, you got it. But by that time, my wife, Josefina, was doing all of my copying. She was doing all of my copying for all the people I was writing with. Nancy Wilson, Ray Charles. I did 50 numbers for Ray Charles. I did over 60 orchestrations for Ella Fitzgerald. I have written so many arrangements. I don't know if there are many guys can beat me. My band was the first black musicians ever to walk through the front door of the Flamingo Hotel. So my band's the first blacks to ever shoot craps there, first band to gamble, first band to eat in all of their eateries, and just enjoy the life that Count Basie and Duke and Pearl Bailey and all of them couldn't enjoy. They had to go into the back door. You couldn't come out past where they worked, past the stage where they worked. But here my band was, boom, we inaugurated integration at the Flamingo Hotel. So, what can I say? I've had it all, man, had it all. First thing I had to do was to check to see what Detroit was about. Although I lived there myself, it's like home to me. But I wanted to check in to see really what happened. And then I go about trying to get to the music. I want the music to say Detroit. The first 2 notes, they say like, Detroit, then Detroit, Detroit, Detroit. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's freedom. I say that because I feel that that's what happened to me the day I got there when I was 16 years old. And so that's how I get to writing the number. We'll be playing as a number that will be called Cass Tech. My going to Cass Tech let me know what a music major has to go through. My first day there, I had to play my trumpet. They wanted to see if I could already play my trumpet. I could, because I had studied trumpet now for a number of years in Memphis, and even before I got to Memphis, I had started studying the trumpet. But I want to let you know what Detroit does for a musician. It's second only to Juilliard to show you exactly where Cass Tech stands. They are celebrating their 100th birthday. They've only had jazz at Juilliard for 6 years. They didn't have any jazz. Cass Tech had jazz. Cass Tech offered me all of these things. I also played with practically every band in Detroit. So this is what Cass Tech offered me. Yeah, well, this is a blues number, and this particular blues number, it's in the key of E. It's in the key of E, and you know, there are a number of progressions for the blues. This particular one, most blues go, what they call it the 1-4-5. In this particular number, we do that practically, but we use an old flute. Instead of going to 4 on the first change from C to say F, it doesn't go. We start in the key of E minor, which is an old progression used many years ago back in the 20s and the 30s. And that's what it's like, that particular blues number. Miss Gretchen is the president of Mack Avenue Records. She's the owner and the president, and of course takes charge in taking care of big business there. And I wanted to let her know how much I appreciate it, not just for what she gave me, but what she gave jazz, the whole world of jazz, what she's doing for it now. And I was just thrilled to death because, listen, I was actually ready to retire at that time. My career took on a new leap. All of a sudden, there we were playing all over the place, making this record. Miss Gretchen did so much for me. I just wanted to thank her and also thank her for what she does for all of jazz.